Hey everybody, this is Prince's friend, and Happy New Year to everybody. I took a couple of months off, mostly just to kind of get together with family and friends over the holidays, and Thanksgiving and Christmas and everything came by. I'm also the father of a now 8-month-old baby, and he's been running me ragged, so that's kind of why we've had the slight delay there in getting some new videos out. But it is the new year, and I did promise that I was going to get new videos out as soon as I could. If you also notice, I'm no longer in the baby's room anymore. I have moved out of there, and now I am in the cubby area behind the kitchen, which actually works a lot better. I can do a lot more at the late hours of the night in terms of work and answering emails and whatnot, instead of only being able to do it during the day, which is really hard to do anyway because of the baby. Anyway, I'll go past all of that stuff, but I just want to say thank you to everybody who has subscribed since the last video. I think the last one that we did was Around the World in a Day, and that was a really, really fun one. Since it's the new year, I want to go ahead and start the new year off with another Prince review. And of course, the next one in line is for Parade, which is the soundtrack to Under the Cherry Moon. Then next week we'll be doing the movie review for Another Cherry Moon, and then I have a few others from the next one from The Time, the next one from Apollonia 6, and Sheila E.'s The Glamorous Life. So I have a few other Prince side projects ready to go as well. But for now, let's go ahead and move on. Parade. Alright, so it was released in March of 1986, and it was written as a soundtrack for Under the Cherry Moon, which was Prince's second movie. I'm not going to go too deep into talking about the movie because, again, the movie will have its own review just as the Purple Rain movie had its own review. But during the period where he was working on this album, they added a lot of members to the group. To the Revolution. They added Atlanta Bliss and Eric Lee, basically replacing any keyboard horns with real horns, which is pretty awesome. We have Miko Weaver and Greg Brooks and Wally Sanford, who kind of show you the evolution of the band, and you already see it kind of forming from the Revolution and kind of evolving into the Love Sexy band that comes in 87, 88, which I really like that band. Parade hit number 3 on the US charts, sold 1.8 million copies. It also gave Prince another number 1 with Kiss, which actually starts the ongoing rule of Prince only getting number 1s if it's attached to a movie. And we'll talk about that more. That wasn't broken until into the 2000s, but pretty much all his number 1s all the way through, I believe, 2006, all of them were attached to a movie of some sort. Purple Rain, Under the Cherry Moon, Graffiti Bridge, Batman, they were all attached to a movie, which is kind of interesting with Prince and being as prolific and as awesome as he is, that it takes the marketing of a movie in order to get him a number 1. But, if you compare that to, say, Aerosmith, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing was their very first number 1, and they had been in it since for a long time. So, greatness is not necessarily counted by the number of number 1s that you have, but this was kind of an interesting thing where he only got number 1s attached to movies. The song actually has 12 tracks, but actually clocks as a shorter album than some of his previous albums. Like half the tracks on the album are around the 2-minute mark, which really makes them stand out. The reason for that is because some of the songs were literally made to be the soundtrack for the movie, and that's it. So most of the songs, they're not longer than they need to be to fit into the scene that it's in the movie. There are ones that kind of trail off into some awesome, jam session, since it feels like Prince didn't really know what to do after the part that they didn't need in the movie anymore. I think that the songs themselves, a lot of them are short for that reason. I always listen to this album and I come off wanting more songs on the album, So its shortness is, to me, not terrible. It's kind of like a, I want more kind of feeling. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into the tracks. The first track is Christopher Tracy's Parade, and this track has a magical mystery tour kind of feel. Actually, it's the same number of syllables. Christopher Tracy's Parade, magical mystery tour. Wait a minute. I love the opening track because it kind of tells you what you're in store for, and it's kind of the first act of like the story of Under the Cherry Moon, which I really dig. Literally kind of paints the picture of what the album is going to be like, and Christopher Tracy's the beginning of his journey. The beat is really good. Like it almost feels like a marching band, and the vocals are sung kind of like almost like a nursery rhyme, like just begging you to come and sing along. And it's very rhythmic to it. So I really, really dig this song, and I feel like it borrows some of the feel from Around the World in a Day. Like a little bit of its kind of international kind of feel. And if you listen to it, you'll see what I mean. And of course, this album was recorded in France, so I think that international feel was very purposeful. Got to try a new position. Yeah. The next track is New Position, and this one actually is one of my faves on the album. It only comes in at about 2 minutes and 20 seconds, but it's about a relationship that has fallen into monotony, and it needs an injection of something new. Of course, being Prince, he suggests a new position because he's Prince. And what I really love about the song, though, is its beat is like very unapologetic. It really ups the funk on the song, but it's short, so there's not really much to go. I mean, it's there and then it's kind of gone, and then it kind of slows down and goes right into the next track. How do you say? I wonder you. I wonder you. And this one is sung by Wendy and Lisa in kind of a subdued kind of fashion, like really kind of low, monotonous. It's got some good horns and a little bit of funky guitar and some pretty strings, actually. But to me, it ends up feeling a little bit unfinished. The lyrics are simplistic, I think almost to a fault, and it makes the song kind of feel like a filler song because they needed it, because this is during the scene in the movie where Mary was on the bed and they needed some sort of like sexual kind of music in the background while she's talking to Christopher on the phone. I like the track, but it's short enough that you can mostly ignore and skip it. And when I say short, I mean New Position was 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and I believe this one's like 1 minute and 50 seconds. So it really like, I don't know. I like it, but it's not great. I'll die in your arms under the cherry moon. I want to live like... Oh, and then Under the Cherry Moon. This song is just beautiful to listen to. I sing it with my wife every so often because it's really, really romantic. It completes the 4-track parade for Christopher Tracy, actually. So he's loud and proud on track 1. He gets challenged by Mary and starts to feel love on track 2. He falls into a phase of confusion and figuring out what he wants in track 3, and then he dies for his love in Under the Cherry Moon, track 4. I think even without knowing the imagery, the track is a near perfect Prince song for this era of his music. It's just amazing. I love you, baby. I love you so much. Maybe we can stay in touch. Meet me in another world. So Girls and Boys, this is a funky track. Funny enough, kind of telling the story of Mary's character in the movie. She's engaged to another man, but he really wants to get with her, etc., etc. The song is accompanied by Eric Leeds, saxophone and some strings to really give it like a still funky but still very different feel to it. Adding in some French lyrics to the chorus, and as well as what's spoken on the song near the end. It helped to create the atmosphere for the album as a whole, and combined with other tracks like Do You Lie and Venus to Milo, I think really pushes that international kind of feel there. Whenever I'm looking for a song to jam out to, this is definitely one that I'm happy to see pop up on my playlist or on shuffle. Life is so nice. It's a wonderful world. So life can be so nice. The title of the song is kind of a pun, if you didn't know that, and I like that sort of thing. I'm into puns. But if you didn't know, Nice is actually a city in France, so he's trying hard to link to France in the title there. Sadly, the song itself, while pretty good, really isn't the best showing on the album. It's performed kind of sloppily, and while the tempo stays the same throughout, they keep adding more instruments and more backing vocals until, like, at the end it's just a cacophony of noise, and that you're really kind of relieved when it very abruptly ends. Like, you'd think that it ends abruptly in the movie where he kind of turns it off when Mary comes up in in her car, but the song just ends. After the craziness of the last track, the album does bring us into a really pretty and peaceful instrumental. In the movie, it's the music for when Mary is reading a love letter from Christopher, which is really sweet. You can feel that there's love in the music. Like, it's very romantic, I think. It just feels so nice, which is what I think the last track was supposed to deliver. But this one, I think, really, really does it very well. I said someday, mountains and the sea, love will conquer. Mountains is the next track, and I don't care what anybody says about Kiss. Mountains is the best song on this album. In a Rolling Stones piece, it was alleged that Wendy and Lisa co-wrote this track but weren't credited as such. If so, good on them, and Prince and everybody. It has the funk, it has the horns, it has the full sound that comes from 11 people in your friggin' band all contributing to it. Mountains, like, plays during the credits of the movie, but prominently opens the second side of the record to tell people, check this shit out. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this track, and it is one of my all-time favorite Prince tracks in his entire career. This song is just, it's beautifully written, the lyrics are good, it's just, it's all there. I cry for you, do you cry for me? Do you cry? So another track that screams, remember, we're in France. Did you forget? You can't forget, we're in France. Do You Lie is a sweet little ditty of a song. It's good enough, I guess. I mean, I think it feels like it belongs in the background of some lavish French party. Hey, wait a minute. Go fig.
Don't have to be beautiful to turn me on. I just need your.
And now we come to Kiss. The story goes that Prince wrote this song for another band and went about arranging it and recording it with them, and working with David Z, the arranger. They really worked hard, like, for a couple of days to really make it work. Nothing sounded good, so everybody just kind of went home. And then the next day, they came back to the studio, and Prince said, oh yeah, I stayed up all night and I figured out a good approach to this song, but I'm going to go ahead and keep it for me, so thanks a lot. See you later. He still credits David Z as the arranger, though. If you notice, This is also another song without a bass line, which that was actually the problem with When Doves Cry, is that he was having a problem, like, it was solved when he took out the bass, so that's probably what ended up happening with Kiss as well. This is a classic falsetto-driven track, and it's arguably one of the most famous songs on this album, and maybe even from Prince's entire career. It's been covered all over the place, most notably by Tom Jones.
You don't have to be beautiful to turn me on.
But even made an appearance on Glee, sung by Mr. Shu.
You don't have to be beautiful to turn me on.
It got Prince another #1, and the lyrics are spot on, the music is simplistic, and yet really, really powerful. I mean, I think it's another one of those, just like, Prince knocked it out of frickin' park with this song. I could go on, but I think everybody knows Kiss, so let's move on to the next track.
You need another lover, like you need a hole in your head. Baby, baby, you know.
So Another Lover, Hole in Your Head. This song feels like it was also borrowed from Around the World in a Day, because it's got like a sitar-sounding guitar grind at the beginning, which I kind of dig that part. The story of the song is simple enough. Prince sees a woman who thinks she needs another lover, and he tells her, you just need me. The problem with the track is that it just seems to kind of trail off from the premise really quickly, and then they're just rambling on the track. Like, I love his voice. I think he sings it well, and he's got good runs, and he's got good screams and stuff. That saves the track for me. The video has a bunch of jamming at the end of the song, so awesome. So if you get to see the video, you'll get to see a bunch more just him dancing and him jamming out. It's actually released as a single for the album, and it hit number 63. So not bad, but not great.
Sometimes it snows in April.
And then we get to one of the prettiest songs ever written by Prince. Like, definitely the prettiest up to this point in his career. Purple Rain was a power ballad, and it really ended that soundtrack, like, masterfully. But this one is like a cool acoustic Purple Rain, in my opinion. It speaks to a listener who has lost someone who's passed away, and it was played a lot when Prince died. There was even a cover of it by Coldplay, which I didn't really like it, but it was nice that they sang this particular song, because it really is kind of an honor to the person who died. I also think that the coincidence of Prince's death occurring in April just made it so that this song was just perfect to sing in his in memoriam. So Wendy and Lisa provided the backing vocals, but Prince's amazing voice is really the star here. I mean, the arrangement is really stripped down to just the piano and the guitar and his vocals. So there's nowhere to hide on this track. So good thing that it was the perfect way to end this album. So in conclusion, it's weird because when, like, in my mind, I have, like, negative thoughts about Parade. Like, I always go, like, I don't need to go listen to Parade. I'll listen to, like, those one or two tracks, but I never go and listen to the album as a whole if I'm just listening to Prince albums. But this album seriously has some of Prince's best tracks on it, despite the occasional misstep of, you know, a couple of tracks here and here that just didn't work as well. For those of you who think this is the album that has Kiss on it, and I've actually heard people refer to Parade as the album that has Kiss on it, I would take another listen to this album track by track and really just marvel in the genius that is Prince. So what did you think of Parade? Let's continue the conversation in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and may you live to see the dawn.